take us back to the beginning. Talk to us a bit about coming up with Home 254. What inspired that? Where did you start?
So I was an engineering student, computer and electrical engineer. So I did my 5 years. I graduated because, our parents do not allow us to sell clothes, and yet you're supposed to be an engineer. Those days it was just engineer, doctor, lawyer, and I've forgotten that one. So for me, when I was in my third year, I realized, man, this thing is not for me. I'm a creative. So on my third year, I started thinking about starting a fashion brand. Then I asked myself, like, which word is stronger than any other word? I think home is even if you just say it, like, I'm home, like. So I started doodling stuff, just drawing stuff, looking for a font, looking how to make. Then I came up with the first logo, like we call it the classic logo. Then, when you're engineering, those days, we're only like 30 people in class. So in my head, I was like, when I start this, all these people are going to buy, so I'm going to sell to them. Shock on me. I think till date, I have only maybe 4 people who have purchased Home 254, which breaks my heart. But anyway, so I put the print on a very low quality t-shirt. We could just get the t-shirts down there. Then 2 t-shirts, I remember it was 2 t-shirts and 1 hoodie. Okay. Yeah, then I printed, then went with them back to class, showing my friends. Okay, I don't know, do you call them friends? Like, just classmates. Let me say classmates. Yeah, let me say classmates. I showed my classmates just to see if they will like it. Yeah, they're like, yeah, it's nice. Mm-hmm. You know what that means? You can even see on my face, like, it's nice. Nobody bought. Oh. Yeah, nobody bought. But it broke my heart a little, but it's okay. Resilience is one of our values, actually. So then there was this girl. In engineering those days, out of 60 boys, you could find 2 girls. So if you get the attention of the girl, it will be, you're the master. Yeah, so this girl said, let me see that. I like it. Can I get it for my mom? And that girl was my crush, actually. Yeah. So saying that, it made me feel like, actually, someone can see this is something. Me, myself, I didn't know what that was, but I knew that it was something. That's why they usually say you just need one person to believe in you, then it can change everything. Going back and forth, those days, missing classes, trying to do all these things. Yeah, I think I got my first E. I'm smart, but I got an E, a D. Then when I got my first E, that's where it clicked, like, I really can't do both of these things, so I have to choose one. Then went home and told my parents that, Dad, I want to stop going to class. I don't want to do engineering anymore. Then he asked me, what do you want to do? I want to sell clothes. Everyone knows how that conversation went. Yeah, I don't even need to say anything. Yeah, it went that way. Yeah, it went that way. He went and cleared my fee, told me, like, if you want, you go. If you don't want, stay. So you know what? You don't have an option. They're just saying for the sake of saying. Yeah, it's not a real option. You just have to, you have to go back. So I concentrated in school. I put that, the Home 254, the dream, just on hold to clear my school, because I didn't want to wrangle to my dad, because I still live in his house. So where will I go? I'm a broke kid. There's nothing I can do. So I put it on hold, then did my studies, then finished in 2016 and graduated. Yeah, after graduation, then I picked it. I literally gave him the certificate and everything. They did those things. They gave me those, I don't know what you call those shiny things, everything. But in my head, I'm like, this is the last day I'm seeing that degree. You're back there. You're just like, you just wanted to continue. Then I picked up on the dream of Home 254. Then I just started selling. I was going to River Road every day. So that time our tagline was elegantly patriotic. So we were just limiting our thinking to Kenya. Then one day it got attention of one of Kenyan celebrities. Then it got people's attention. I don't know, from then is where things changed.
How are you thinking about business growth from when you're starting the business, right after JKUAT days?
The vision was, that I don't know even, I was calling it a vision. It was just something, when you don't know anything to do. I didn't know anything to do with business. Let me just say that. I didn't know anything. I didn't know any word. So I just knew that I wanted to have control. someone approached me, someone from JQuat that time. They had money. So he told me, I will buy you machines. I will buy you the printing machines and these. Then you give me half of the business. I didn't know anything. So I said, yes, 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 yes. Well, it was like I wanted just to fulfill my, I didn't know about shares, about anything. I said, yes. Then this person gave me that money, cash, like 200,000 cash. I've never seen that kind of money in my life. The maximum money I saw was 10K and it was school fees. So I'd never held such kind of money in my hand. So, that confuses you. Then he just brought papers. I signed the papers and, I just signed that was dangerous. That was really, really dangerous. I went, you remember the person I said that, this person is Jibril, actually. Yeah, he used to produce Churchill Show. So Jibril, when he was going with these hoodies on Churchill Show, we got more clients. Then after that, the PA at that time, she's called Marisa, connected us to, there was Coke Studio 2019. So Coke Studio, they called us and asked us if we can do 500 hoodies. I've never done 2 hoodies in a month or in a day. So with the connection with Jibril and the PA, Coke Studio, the people, they called us and asked us, can you do 200 hoodies? We were like, yes. 500, we were like, yes. The hoodies are supposed to serve Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Coke Studio around Africa. We said yes, but we didn't have the fabric. Remember, we have someone who can do them, but he's stubborn. So these people have a timeline. So we said yes, but we went to them. We didn't tell them that which brand we were doing. So he agreed to do the hoodies for us because he was also getting money. Then that's the first time that we broke, we picked up as a brand. Because every Coke Studio hoodie, every hoodie an artist was wearing while performing, it had a Home 254 signature on the sleeve. That's where everything. Then all the things we had to take, we didn't pay those people, you see, because we could not afford. But we had an agreement. If we don't pay, they take our machines. So we managed Coke Studio. We talked to them. We said, we don't have money. If you can pay us 2 weeks instead of, I think companies take like 60 to 90 days, but we can't have that. So the guy liked us. I convinced people sometimes. Then he agreed. Then he gave us the job. We dressed all artists who were performing Coke Studio. We dressed all staff for Coke Studio. We did all those hoodies. I can remember we piled those hoodies in the room that the room could not. This is December. We did not go for holiday. We stayed 3 days in a row without going home, just working. I designed the logo for Coke Studio for that year. So they actually paid me for that. Then we did all those hoodies and delivered, and they were all brilliant. This one I had to make sure those people don't use any funny stuff. So we delivered, and these people gave us a check. That is where, literally, I'd never seen that. I was given a check and I was confused, what to do. So you remember that guy for the machines? They gave us a check, a very big check.
A big fat check.
A big fat check. I was confused. I didn't even know how do you call deposit a check? Mm-hmm. I didn't know even what you do, to get that money. I just saw the figures, oh my God. I took 200,000 Kenya shillings after I deposited that, went and withdraw. Oh, the bank had to stop me because, who are you?
Where did you get this money?
You know the way they judge people, where do you get that money? So I took it and returned to that guy in a bag. I told him, here's your money. But what I didn't tell you earlier before, I had kind of sold my soul a little because, being starstruck, that thing is, any entrepreneur in this room, don't ever be starstruck. Or you meet a celebrity, or you meet someone who you admire. Even me, okay, I'm using that right now because, I have to buy businesses, Mm-hmm. So if you meet someone, before you make any move, just consult. So I met someone, this one, I signed off. I literally signed and gave him the documents, the lawyer. I was excited because I met a celebrity for the first time. I gave him part of the company. That time it was not a company, but he knew what he was doing. So me, I didn't know what I was doing. So I just continued with everything that we are doing, right? Everything that I'm doing. This person was keeping those documents, right? So one day is when I realized that this was a mess. But again, I didn't know what I was doing that time, but I was still smart. So any IP for Home 254, I put it under myself. So the company did not own anything. So anything I create is still under me. So I had a different entity called JB Jura Design. That's what we use nowadays. That's what we trade with, because I made a mistake. And when I tried to rectify it, it could not be rectified, you see. So I left that other company and started a whole afresh. So please, anyone who's here and is planning to be an entrepreneur, don't.
I think an important lesson there, and I know you preempted to it a bit, but somebody who I really look up to said, never waste a crisis. So let's talk about mistakes and lessons. And I know you talked a bit about, the financing and being starstruck mistake, but are there any other mistakes that you've made? And what did you learn from those mistakes that maybe you can pass over to our entrepreneurs?
Okay. I remember that part I said that I didn't know anything about business. Even if you don't know anything, please know the basics of finance. The basics of finance. This year, I'm saying that because I've experienced it. I was still ignoring it for the past, I think. I started 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So the end of 2022, it messed me up. So Home 254, Home 254 has never taken any loan. Home 254 is self-grown. We put back 100% of our profits back to the business. Like literally 100% of our profits back to the business. I lived with my parents till I was 29 years old. I know people will give you pressure like you are old and you're still living with your parents, you have a business, you're living with your parents. No, I know what I'm doing. So I stayed with my parents so that I could save the money and put back the business. So the first mistake I made, and I'm still paying for it, is I didn't know my finances. The other thing is, when you're working with people, friends, when you're starting a business, you start with friends and family.
Yeah.
Please just have boundaries and have clear, like clear defined boundaries. So for me, the mistake was I didn't have clear boundaries. So what happens when the business grows? You'll start to have some sense of entitlement, some sense of, we started this, we did this. Then you as the founder and CEO, you're starting to make some decisions. Then it seems like you don't care anymore. So it's kind of like you have to define like the boundaries. And when you're starting a business with someone, just say, this is what it is. This is for you, this is for me. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the biggest mistakes I made again. Everyone knows, I think I work with 4 of my brothers. So you can imagine how that is. That gets crazy sometimes. And again, trust numbers, not people. Trust numbers. I trusted. Another mistake I made, I never used to pay attention to money. For me, it was like, is the brand growing? So anything is happening in the back. Like I used to see, I'm buying my raw materials. We are continuing the business. I'm continuing. So I was not focusing on the cash. So, and I didn't even understand profit. Like I was just literally buying and selling. Oh, we are growing. Oh, buying and selling. Little did I know that something is happening behind my back that I could not figure it out. I figured it out when it was too late because of trust. So please trust numbers. Then if you're here and you're starting a business, just start with the right processes and systems. Document them. We are doing that currently, and you can imagine how tough it is. We have to do our day-to-day operations and map out our processes right now, put systems in place. It's super crazy. Like, it's super crazy. So doing the early things, like the basics. The other mistake was, and usually one of my mentors usually tells us, you can't be big out there, then internally, your processes are messed up. So we need to, whatever is happening out there, people inside the company need to feel it. Like when we say our tagline nowadays is you belong, the employees also need to feel they belong. Yeah. So those are I can say my biggest mistake was the not learning the basics of finance. That was my biggest. Okay. And not defining boundaries when you're starting engagement with anyone. Like even now, and when you're starting a business, just make sure you have a legal consultant in your pocket.
You said you do business with your family and friends. I know that's always a touchy subject.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to hear, do you have any advice on how do you navigate that part?
We usually say, anytime you get through the doors of our HQ or the store, brotherhood stops there first. Like, we are on employer-employee basis, right? I still care about you as a brother, but the business comes first. So working with family is hard. But I think the other thing that I didn't do is defining what these are the boundaries that you have as a brother and as an employee. Because you can't make a mistake, then you want to be treated differently from other people. We had to do a staff handbook. Oh my God, that thing is like 160 pages. You know, employees will not read, right? But when even a brother does something, you tell, refer to section 11.6 of the staff handbook. We make sure that the employees understand that no one is invisible in the company. Like, everyone can be held accountable. Everyone knows everyone's job description and what they need to do. So if they don't do it, they tell them. Yeah, I've seen that happening, and sometimes I'm like, oof, okay, that just happened. Everyone needs to know their growth plan. Everyone needs to know what they need to do to get to that level they want. Now we're just trying to define the growth plan for everyone, so everyone can see they have equal opportunity, because that puts the field level for everyone. Yeah. The business as Home 254 has been growing using its own profits. Apart from that 200,000 I paid back. Yeah, because then we have been reinvesting. Then I remember when I was 29, before I moved out of my parents' house, during Coke Studio, I met Avril. Everyone knows, like, Avril was part of us. I met her. She loved the product. Then she asked me, what do I want for my 30th birthday? I said, we were at 6,000 followers on Instagram. I said, I want to get to 10,000. It was one day to my birthday. I told her I want to get to 10,000 followers. I remember this like it was yesterday. She told me, say no more. She made a post about us, saying that we were producing the best in the country. Yeah, that was interesting. It was not the best, but yeah. She said she loved it. By the way, she loved it. She posted it and said, I love this brand. I just discovered it, and it's the best in the country, and you guys go get something from them. Oh my God. The following day, we were at 11,000 followers. So you can imagine, that's 4,000 within less than 24 hours because of her. And the followers then, they were genuine. The followers then were genuine. Nowadays, people have to do, I'm not attacking anyone, but people have to do some crazy stuff to gain followers. So, and what you want as a business is the organic growth. Like, even those followers come with orders, and orders come with money. Whatever she was wearing, we got so many orders for that. And she also wore a hoodie. So we sold, and every time we sell, you remember I still live with my parents, and I'm not incurring any expenses because I walk from home to work to home that way. I never had meals lunchtime, because I'm trying to save as much as possible. So I sell a product, that money I bring it back to the business. I sell, I bring it back. I sell, I put it back. That's how Home 254 has grown up to date. Then I don't still like flashy life. I still don't get pressure from social media. I scroll less, because the more you scroll, the more pressure you get. So, and I know nowadays people have made entrepreneurship to be cool. So you want to catch up with the trends. You want to show people that you have money. I don't really care about that. So we put back all the money. The business, like, till today, there's no loan. Because I think, like, I've been offered so much money, and so many people have been offering money, like, but I usually say, if I don't know what I'll do with that money, because currently I'm in a program that it's teaching me about finance and about investment. We're getting investment ready. So if you take that money and you don't know what to do with it, when the money comes in, we put it back. Then the company has been growing that way. Like, no external financing we've ever received.
So more like start where you are with what you have and then grow from there.
Yes, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not trying to be a celebrity. I'm just telling you the facts, like what has happened. I'm not trying to give you the those quotes that we have access to so many things. Nowadays, you scroll reels, you find motivational talks about entrepreneurship, but this is the real thing. This is the real world. This is Africa. This is Kenya. We are so different from some of these things that we hear. I've never gotten money from the company to do something personal. Everything that I get, I put it to the business. Like, that discipline is hard because, trust me, sometimes you feel like you really
You can
want
get a
something.
little
Yeah, you
something.
need. Yeah, so that's how, like, I'll say it again. Like, that's how Home to Five has been built. We have not taken loan. We have not gotten any external capital. We still own 100% of our company. Everything you see out there, everything that it has been built by these. I think I'm the second oldest person in that company. We are young people and trying to make them understand why we do things the way we are doing. I could pay myself 300,000, but what will it do to the business? The business will die. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting. And as we've gone on to talk about the Home 254 story, I think one thing that has been consistent across is that you had some key moments that you took advantage of that drove your trajectory, whether it's your partnership with different people in the industry or different companies that kind of propelled your growth. Maybe give us one or two lessons that you learned from that, whether it's around networking or leveraging a certain moment, and what we as entrepreneurs can learn from that.
People usually say, and this one I've heard it a lot, if you're in a room full of people selling ice cream, you'll know so much about ice cream, you'll know the flavors, but if you're in a room full of billionaires, you'll know about investment, about money, about loans, about investments, about such kind of things. So I try to put myself in a space where the people in my space are people who are in line with what I'm doing. I'm not saying you should not have friends to hang out with. Yeah, but hang out with them. But like, when you look at the people you're hanging out with, like, is there a point where you sit down and just talk about, like, what do you think about this idea? For me, the networks that I've had, it's our clients who we have served really well that give us, they say any person you're serving, you don't know what they'll bring to the table. A person can be coming, the CEO of KCB, CEO of Google can come and shop a pair of socks. Then they want to see how you're treating them. Then after that, they send you an email saying, I love your product. I've seen the quality. I'm a shopper from you guys. I just want you to provide 50 hoodies for my company. Do you do such collaborations? Then we go like, yeah, we have worked with over 50 brands, but we don't put it out there because that's not our core business. But we have worked with so many brands, high-end brands. Because also companies are leveling up. Nowadays, they don't want the basic hoodies and stuff. They want jackets. So who can do that? They look for the best brand. They ask their employees, do you know any brand that, yeah, I've shopped from this brand. So that's what you're doing. So that's how I've created most of my friends right now are coming from business. So these people will give you referrals to big people that you don't know. We tend to keep those. We usually ask, like, I just tell people, like, point blank, will you give me a referral? Do you know anyone who would like to buy our products? Do you know how hard that is? That saying it is easy, but now when you need to tell someone, it's really, really hard. So at the moment, you're in the process of building our own network because we've understood our customer segments, we've understood the kind of people who buy from us, we've understood the people who love our products, but they can't buy, but they can work with us in forms of other partnerships like influencers. You see, so we pay them and they're the ones who ask to work with us. You see, so sometimes it's just what value can someone else bring into the company? That's what we look at.
Okay.
And that's how we have really grown the brand.
Yeah, very insightful. I think let's talk about digital and the role of digital for entrepreneurs and especially small businesses, especially at the beginning where maybe you don't have a physical location. So ideally, you are putting yourself out there using digital channels. What has that journey looked like for Home 254? And if you have any advice around that?
We didn't have a physical store. That's where we got our clients. That's where we got our referrals. That's where we used to tell people, send us photos after you wear the product. The role of digital platforms is they've made the game equal for everyone. Whether you are the big brand or the small brand, whether you're Goliath or you're just a startup, all of you have the same access to the digital platform. It's how you use it. Like when you're getting to this industry, you're not the first one to use 254, but nowadays if you say 254, everyone will tell you, oh, home 254. So we've already claimed that. But we had so many people already in that space. So how do you even claim that? It's the feeling that you give people. So right now, on social media, we are the most followed fashion brand in East and Central Africa. I want to confirm if it's still Africa, but we are the most followed brand. And remember, it's organically. Nowadays people want shortcuts. You'll buy followers, you'll buy likes, you'll buy comments. But can't we just have that patience to grow it organically?
What vision do you have for small businesses in Africa, and what is it that you would like to see change?
The vision that I have for small businesses in Africa is we can actually really do it. But we need to stop comparing someone else's step 20 with our step 1. I just want people to think outside the box and just use the resources that we have here and not try to be like other people out there. Like, let's do our own thing. And I hope they say where the money is not always where the ego is. So the business in Africa, I think we need to pause on, I think everyone who is watching or everyone who's here, can we just stop focusing on building apps? Like, so that you can come and tell me like, I have an app. For what? What problem is it solving? Like, can we just build businesses? Sometimes people, like they said, it's not where the money is not always where the ego is. Like, people just want to just trump everything. Like, I have this. That's what people want. Can we just have businesses that are solving a problem and have value? I would really like to see the business the business in Africa trying to solve the actual problems that you're facing as Africans. We have problems, so many problems that we are facing here. And the greatest asset that I think they have is time. And the greatest disadvantage they have is that they think they have time because it moves
really quickly.
Yeah. So we spend our time scrolling. And what pages are we following? Everyone knows what we check. Like, Leo, what's the hot thing? So these businesses that we have in Africa, or let me say Kenya as a whole, let's just solve problems.
Now we'll take a few questions from our audience just to get to engage and hear what's on their minds. So we'll take the first question.
My question is, are your products patented or trademarked? And how do you go about it? Thank you.
The products they are patented, not the product, the logos. Yeah, they're trademarked, and they're trademarked under me. Because at that time, I didn't want to do it under the company because of the story I told you. So it's under me. So if I don't exist, no one can use it. So they are trademarked under me. And this one I learned through the hard way. And you can do your trademark at Kipi. The time that I was doing it, they were really helpful. They tell you about how it's going to protect you. And it's for 10 years.
Super. We'll get one more question. One more.
My name is Simon Peter. My question is, did Home 254 had a strategy to scale locally, or the Churchill Show movement was purely coincidental? What was Home 254 penetration strategy looking like?
Oh, that's a very, very, very nice question. And thank you for that. So the Churchill Show was just before influencers knew they were influencers. So nowadays, if you want something like that, you have to pay for it for product placement, right? I think you need to do that. So Churchill Show was coincidence. I will not lie. I didn't even know anything called about strategy. I didn't know strategy. I didn't know vision. I didn't know anything. But now we have a well-defined strategy, and we have a whole team. It's not me. It's me, and I have a leadership team of 5 people. So I'm the visionary, and I have other people who are implementing the vision that I have. Because for me now, I'm just to look at the vision. So I have people who are implementing the strategy. Like now we can say we have the last one we worked on is for the next 5 quarters. I know people used 4 quarters. We're doing the next 5 quarter strategy for Home 254. We can say Home 254 is big, but it's all in our heads because it's only in Nairobi. Kenya is big. We only have, our clientele is now at 45,000 clients. But how many Nairobians do we have? Like 10 million. So we have not even touched on like 2%. I don't even if it's 1%. So the strategy, this time we have a whole written strategy that we start 2 days out of office. Yeah, nowadays we can stay out of business. 2 days complete to do the strategy. I can't share here because competitors are watching.
I think Nelly will take one very last question and then we'll call it a day.
About the influencers, like, have you ever had a bad experience with one? Like, has it always been a smooth journey because now you're a big brand?
Working with influencers, yes, we have worked with so many influencers. But the last collection, I can tell you, the influencer that you're planning to work with really did us bad. But again, we already set a date to the public. So I'm usually of the mentality that whatever happens, we need to get things done. We need to get it done. We don't go out to the public and say, due to unavoidable circumstances, we'll change our collection release date to 2 weeks later. No, we still set a date. I remember we didn't have, we had like 3 sleepless nights. We were working at the HQ, me and my team. And maybe you'll ask, like, how do you get your team to work without complaining? It's because they already have the picture in their mind how they want this to happen. And they know they have to do 1, 2, 3, 4 for this to happen. So yes, influencers, it's hard to work with them. But now what you do, you put everything in writing. And once you start putting things in writing with people, you know now you're also you're setting yourself up, you see? Because once you put something in writing, they can use it against you. And now that you are a growing brand, or let's say a big brand, it's you who people will see, like the bad, anything that goes to social media, the negative is 7 times, it's magnified 7 times than so no one will ever listen to you. So nowadays, I can't do anything with emotions. So you see anyone messing you up, I can't respond nowadays. The legal team has to give the branding team what they need to say to the public. I was not paying myself till 2022 is when till 2020 is when I had my first salary, when I had to move out from my parents because I started having expenses and I needed to take, maybe one day I'll take someone out for a date. You see, so I need to pay for the date. That time I needed money. But how did I come up with what I need to be paid? I didn't go over the moon to get what, people say, like, I'm the CEO, I need to get this kind of money. So I hired an external advisory accounting firm that we did math and saw that this is how much I can sacrifice and this much I can get, because I'm looking at the future. So there are people who even earning more than me. Even now, I think I'm the second most earning person in that company. So it depends on the value that these people bring. You know, you're the CEO, you can make the sacrifice. So I got my first salary in 2020. Then still looking at it and what the company is making, yeah, you can feel like you still want to take from the company. But that discipline and having people holding you accountable, that's what's keeping us running. Then I got my first increase this year. Yes, because I worked so hard. Yeah. And now as the company grows now, and everyone knows about what's happening to taxes and everything. So we need to figure out a way to still get money, maybe get allowances. We are a small company, but we have corporate kind of mentality, like corporate kind of deals, dreams. So yes, I only pay myself right now, only pay myself what I need. Because as I said, I don't spend so much. I don't party. I'm not saying don't party. I don't party. I don't just do anything like it's out of the way to spend money. I'd rather put that money back. I know, like, sometimes my look might seem like I'm the party holic and stuff. Yeah, I love that, but I can't do it right now. Yeah, but unless still you need something that you love that is not work. So I do karaoke on Thursdays. So yeah.
Super. Thank you so much. I think maybe just to recap what we've heard from you, I think is one, to ensure that your business is solving problems for Africans or wherever that you operate, problems that are happening now. And then the second one is to educate yourself on the basics, whether that's finance, whether that's marketing, whether that's how to run a business, to ensure that you are well up and know the basics. And then I think you also talked about staying close to the product so that you can define the quality. When you talked about going and making sure that the thread is red on red and not red on black. And I think the last one that we had that's super important is around financing, to make sure that you don't take financing just because it's available, but only to take financing when you have a plan of how you're going to use the finances. So thank you so much, Brian. Really, really appreciate the insights.